let's focus on how we humans are changing the climate and how we can restore our Earth. Last year, in 2020, humanity reached a new milestone in its dominance of the planet. Human-made objects now outweigh all of the living beings on Earth. Roads, houses, smartphones, and all the other infrastructure of daily life now weigh approx 1.1 trillion metric tons. That is equal to the combined dry weight of all plants, animals, fungi, and bacteria on Earth. The amount of new stuff being produced every week is equivalent to the average body weight of all 7.7 billion people. Buildings and infrastructure outweigh trees and shrubs. The world's plastic alone now weigh twice as much as the planet's marine and terrestrial animals. Humans are increasingly influencing the climate and the Earth's temperature by burning fossil fuels, cutting down forests, and over-consuming. These numbers should be a wake-up call for how much damage we have done while developing. The glacial lakes have increased by 50% in volume in the last 30 years. Greenland and Antarctic ice sheets have both passed a tipping point and won't be able to recover, even if we have cold temperatures in upcoming years. And it's horrifying that fossil fuel companies knew that burning fossil fuel causes global warming that will mess with our climate system. And yet, they tried hard to change policies in their favor. They discredited science, encouraged climate change denial, and continue to burn the planet for what? Profit? People are realizing this and are taking action, but we can only hope that they will pay the price. In 2015, a study identified just 100 companies being responsible for 71% of global emissions since 1988. These companies have to pay for the damage, but those payments mostly get subsidized. In 2015, the world's biggest fossil fuel industries received $5.3 trillion in subsidies. This shouldn't be happening. Our current global plan is to continue burning fossil fuels till 2050. Till 2050, for 30 more years. But now that we have seen horrible impacts of global warming in 2020, how can we possibly assume that 30 more years of fossil fuel burning and pumping greenhouse gases into the atmosphere would be okay? Global warming increases some positive feedback loops that fuel in climate change. Melting ice and forest fires are some of the examples. When the ice melts, more heat is absorbed by exposed land or ocean, causing more warming that in turn melts more ice, and the cycle continues till ice is turned into water completely. Forests that are supposed to be a carbon sink become CO2 producer during wildfires. Warming due to this fire creates perfect conditions for more wildfires to happen. These wildfires release more CO2 into the atmosphere, and that causes more warming, that causes more wildfires. Once such processes begin, they quickly accelerate and could become irreversible or unstoppable when they cross a tipping point. But the world is showing no signs of slowing down emissions right now. The pandemic did not reduce carbon emission. Global emissions have only increased since the first IPCC report came 30 years ago that officially warned us that greenhouse emissions will cause warming and everyone officially decided to reduce emissions to limit warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius. And since then, global emissions have gone up instead of reducing. Emissions are not going down anytime soon, and neither is warming. Even if leaders realize that climate change is real. We know that the Earth's natural carbon cycle is oversaturated and that burning fossil fuels releases more CO2 than the Earth can handle. We also know that our best shot at naturally capturing extra CO2 in the atmosphere is saving forests, trees that magically capture the carbon dioxide and give us food and protection in return. Given this information, anyone can connect the dots and arrive at the conclusion that forests need to be protected and fossil fuels need to be kept in the ground at all costs. There can be no justification for burning fossil fuels anymore because we are literally burning away our future. Our green energy plans shouldn't include unleashing coals or huge dams. And I agree that solar and wind farms can also be harmful to the ecosystem. But that's the problem we should invest time and money in solving instead of blindly going after unleashing coal and hydropower. The fight against climate change begins at policy level. These leaders who passed the bill and gave clearances will not be in power by the end of their short terms in parliament. But the public will have to deal with the fallout in future. And we cannot blame anyone except ourselves. Confronting this harsh truth is necessary because climate change and biodiversity loss are accelerating rapidly, much faster than we can adapt to it. So even though it may seem like too much to handle, it is absolutely necessary that we engage with this fear and grief and innovate as best as we can.